Today I wanted to talk about Wario in Smash Ultimate because I feel like he's been a character that's been a little bit under the radar, but I know a lot of people have kind of been wondering, you know, how do I play this character? How do I pick him up? A lot of people have been seeing him just getting a ton of results all over the place, and myself included, you know, I put a lot of time into him. I'm trying to see how everything works, so hopefully I can tell you guys what you can do as Wario. Now today I'm going to be talking about every single one of Wario's moves, in general, his characteristics, and how to play Wario from a basic to intermediate level guide. With that all said though, guys, let's get started on how to play Wario. So if I want to talk about Wario in general, I'm going to say that he's a character that is pretty good at just about everything. He's a character with a good amount of combos. He's a character with decent enough range. He's a character with a lot of airspeed. He has a good amount of weight. He has a pretty good recovery. He has a pretty good comeback factor with the waft. He's just kind of good at everything. And while I feel like he can sometimes suffer from the lack of range, and it can sometimes be a little bit hard to get in, if you play right, if you play smart, and if you play around your opponent, he can just kind of do it all. And as well, of course, he has a command grab, so that's pretty cool as well. As far as this character goes, of course, you will, for the most part, actually be playing a little bit defensively. He's somebody who can't just jump in and throw out hitboxes all the time, because a lot of times they will be stuffed out. So you do have to, like, kind of bait people's attacks. Seem like you're going in, have them miss, hit them out of there, start up a big combo. He's really good at that. He's a character that, again, isn't way too slow. He is very heavy, and he actually does a ton of damage per hit. He's a character that I didn't expect to do so much damage, but I mean, even his combo as easy as that, that's like 40%. That's better than a lot of people like Pichu's combos. And while it might be a little bit less just automatic and easy to set up, I mean, if you can get stuff even just like nair, I mean, there you go. You get a decent amount of damage. It's overall pretty good. Finally, of course, he does have a good amount of knockback. He's a character that I feel like has combos, has knockback, has everything. And overall, I'm going to say he's honestly a pretty good main. And if you can get past the fact that Wario is, you know, kind of like a troll-ish type character, and you don't really care about that, well, he'd be a really good character for you. With that said though, guys, let's get on to his tilts. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is going to be his jab. And honestly, this jab is probably one of the jabs that I don't see way too often. Now, it is just kind of the normal, you know, hit, 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 hit. But the problem about this jab, as you'll see right here, is that it takes forever to come out. I think it's around 6 to 8 frames. And for being a jab, that's just not that great. Moving on, we have his forward tilt, and this thing I really like. Now, in the previous game, this thing was just super slow and kind of unusable in a lot of situations unless you had a giant read. In this game, his forward tilt's actually about as fast as Ike's, and I think has an easier to hit hitbox. It might not be quite as long, but it is, in my opinion, a little bit easier to hit. Of course, does a good amount of damage. You can do it sometimes out of other moves. Not really way too much, though. But I think the best thing about this move is going to be, of course, just the fact that it can kill. Now, against someone like Ridley, it will take a little while to kill without any rage, of course. So let's just put it at the classic 100-ish. There we go. As you can see, killing really early. Even over here, might possibly kill. Not quite, but got really close. Now, another thing that I really want to show about this move that I can hopefully show right here is that if he's on the ledge, the slap is super good. And this is going to be one of probably Wario's best ledge trap tools. Now, Wario in general, I didn't mention this, but he is a really good character at edge guarding, his nair, his forward air. He has this to make it back if you're not dumb. He has a lot of different options, but if you do want to just stay on the ledge, you can use forward to do that, back to ledge trap. Like your opponent's coming up, you can use back air. But forward tilt's really great because you can essentially just run around or walk around and then just forward tilt, and you can see that covers a ton of range. Now, moving on, we have his up tilt, and his up tilt, I think, is a pretty decent up tilt. Not the exact best in the game because it doesn't have, like, the giant range that you'd hope, you know, from the side. But, you know, I guess compared to a lot of other up tilts, like compared to, you know, Squirtles or Ivysaurs, it is pretty good because it can actually hit people next to him decently well. As you see, it does around 70% or 7%, and then it leads straight into up airs. A lot of times you can get up tilt, like 2 up airs if they are at high enough percent. So, like, drop down, up air, up air. If I can do this, there we go, and that does, you know, decent enough percent. And overall, it's a really good anti-air type tool. If you know your opponent's coming down on you, that can work. Or if you happen to land on your opponent, well, you can go into up tilt and then hit into other moves. Moving on, we have his down tilt, and this move's pretty cool. Honestly, I heard a lot of people say it was better in the last game. In this game, you can sometimes go down tilt into grab, and that works fine. But I feel like the problem about this is that sometimes if your opponent has a fast enough move, it just doesn't really work. And it just worked a lot easier in the last game. But that is an option that does work at really low percents. And you usually want to go into up throw because that's your throw grab. But I'm so used to going for down throw because like every other character does that. So anyways, down tilt, grab, that can work pretty well. At later percents, you can also go down tilt into dash attack. And that's pretty good. I'm going to go really high percent. So down tilt, dash attack, and there we go. That's a kill confirm that can work pretty well. Against really light characters, I guess you can guess and go for down tilt forward tilt. You know, your opponent happens to air dodge all the time. I don't know. But yeah, down tilt dash attack is pretty good. Against lighter characters as well, you will have to use it a little earlier. But, you know, it's a good kill confirm, and that's kind of the main 2 tools. Finally, onto his dash attack. I really like this dash attack. Some people say it's bust, some people say it's nerfed from the last game. You can't really use this to hit under people's shields and poke shields like you could in the last game. But what it does is a lot of percent, comes out super fast, I think on frame 5 or maybe frame 7, somewhere around there though, but really, really quick, and it's a kill move. So you can shield and then essentially just come right out of it if you really want to in this situation, and then dash attack. You can also like nair dash attack. You can do a lot of stuff into dash attack, and as I said earlier, you can down tilt into dash attack. And I think it kills a little bit later than something like his forward tilt, but I mean, it still kills really good. And that's what's so good about this character. He has combo tools with his up tilt and his down tilt. His jab, you know, is alright, but whatever. And then his forward tilt and his dash attack are both kill moves. So he kind of has everything. He has combos, he has kill moves, and everything works pretty well. And I think that's just kind of how Wario works. He just kind of fits together well as a character. And with that said, with his ground moves, let's move on to his aerials. Wario actually got a lot of really nice buffs on his aerials, mainly to the fact that they just have a lot less landing lag now. Now, they already didn't have that much in the past, but it's really, really nice now. The combo just great in this game. They come out really quick. They all do a good amount of damage, and they all have their own, you know, particular use that you can use them for. So overall, really cool aerials. Now, if we're going to start off with his first aerial, that's going to be his forward air. And the forward air, I feel like in general, is just kind of like a Squirtle forward air. You can use it to kind of engage while you're holding back. Now, you can do this by pressing jump, holding forward on the C stick, if you have that set to, you know, pretty much anything but special, and then holding back on the analog stick. As you can see, you can do like, you know, going in, going out. Of course, you do want to change your timing with this move, and this can be a pretty good move because it can lead into stuff like forward air waft if your opponent misses the tech. I can't show that off because I'm not going to wait 2 minutes for a waft, because every time you reset, it resets the waft. But you can do forward air into waft. That works really well. You can as well, I'm going to do this just one try. You can do forward air into down tilt, into like forward tilt, and other jab blocks. I think the fastest jab block is going to be forward air, down tilt, down smash, but you know, I don't really have that down. But you can do that. I can set up into a lot of those situations, so if your opponent does miss the attack, you can go for that. And as well, of course, if you hit your opponent off stage, a lot of the time you can edge guard with forward air, you know, pretty easily. Moving on, we have his neutral air. This move, a lot of people think is really good. Some people think it's just kind of all right. I think it's a move that is great in certain situations. Against a lot of the bigger characters that can kind of get hit by both parts, because you see, there are 2 parts of this. It'll probably hit easier at lower percents. But by the people that can get hit by both parts, I mean, you can just combo them for days, and that's really cool. But against the characters that are a lot smaller, it can be a lot harder to use this move, which I think can kind of become a problem. Now, the nice thing about this move is that, like his forward air, and I guess all his aerials, they come out super quick, but his neutral air is really fast. You can actually go shield and then X and A at the same time to go for neutral air, and that can get you out of a lot of bad situations. And if you do this, you probably won't get a combo starter because you do need a little bit of momentum for your forward air to really start combos. It still can get people off you. It still can do pretty well. As well, if you hit, I think the second part, you can just like waft. So let's say I was right here, I hit this, and then I do that. That would hit on, I think, a half-charged waft against the majority of the cast, and then a full-charged waft against mainly just the bigger characters. Actually, half-charged waft is easier to hit on a lot of characters because it just comes out a little bit quicker, so that's, I guess, kind of nice to know. This is just one of those combo moves that can just clap into a bajillion different things, though. Moving on, we have his down air. This move, I honestly don't use way too much. I see a lot of people like Gluttony or Glutony or whatever, and Reflex use this a lot. The problem for me is that I feel like it's a little bit awkward to pull off. Probably the best situation to use it, though, is either to try to finish off a kill with it, because it does have, you know, pretty decent kill power. I'm going to keep going up to like around 120. So that's, you know, pretty decent, I'm going to say. But it can kill in some situations. Hit him the wrong way, but you can kind of see how it has a good amount of knockback. There we go. Can kill. But as well, I think another nice thing about this, if I don't kill him, come on, is that you can oftentimes go off the stage, and if you can kind of just see what your opponent's doing, you can go for a down air and then edge guard them pretty well. Like that, if it happens in the right direction. As continuing, we have his up air, and if neutral air is his combo starter on the ground, up air is going to be that combo starter in the air. Now, in the last game, it used to kill really early. Not really early, but, you know, early. In this game, it doesn't really anymore, but what it does do is it combos really well. So, as I've been showing off, you know, you got your combos just with this move. It's great. It's overall one of those moves that just claps into itself. And I think you can, well, nice thing about this is you can also go like up throw into up air. So, you know, that's a pretty sick and simple combo by itself. It's overall just like a really, you know, quite far range clap that can hit pretty well. I think I should mention earlier is that you can also go up tilt into down B at around, I think, 20-ish to like 60 to 70-ish. So that's pretty nice. As well as sometimes you can go up air into waft down B, and that'll also kill. So those are some 2 nice things about that I forgot to mention. But yeah, up air, just overall good combo tool. All right kill tool, and if your opponent's above you, you can use that. As well, you can use up air as you're falling. A lot of the times you don't want to do this if you want to hit someone on the ground, because as you see, it'll miss if you press up and A at the same time. But if you press jump and then you fall and press up on like the C stick or the A button. You'll probably have to use the C stick. You can hit people while you are falling to the ground pretty low. This only really works against like medium height characters. Against somebody like Pichu or Squirtle, this will not hit them. But, you know, if you can't hit people like that, that's probably honestly one of his better combo starters. Finally, moving on to his bear. This move has a weird thing about it, which I still can't time very well. But as you can see, I'll try to put this on this. If I use this tool, or if I use this back air, but don't time it very well, it'll have, like, a ton of lag. As you see, I'm on my ground, I'm on the ground on my back, I'm stuck, and it just has a ton of lag. Well, on the other hand, if I happen to get, like, the full hop and don't land on my back, well, let's just say I do right here. All the way up here. Then I don't get, like, any lag. So, personally, I cannot time this really well at all. That was perfect, as you just saw right there. But if you can time it right, it won't have that much lag. But if you time it wrong, you're going to have, like, I think around 18, 20-ish frames, or maybe even just 16. But yeah, that does kind of suck. So just do keep that in mind. This is only aerial that really does that way too much. A downer, I guess, does do that a little bit as well. So keep that in mind with both those aerials. But with the back air, it's kind of just one of those moves that you want to use to either try to edge guard right here, as I said earlier, because it covers a lot of options. It's just really, really big. And as well, it can kill or send people off stage really far, really early, which is nice. If you want to say right here, I'm going to say that the main use for this move is probably just as a kill move, because while it's alright on shield, you do have to kind of space it like perfectly, while this forward air is just a lot easier to hit. But as you see right here, back air will send people super far. And a lot of the times you can just jump off, go for back air, and kill people like that. Finally, moving on to his smashes, I feel like he has one really good smash that has a good reason to use it, and the other ones are just kind of like alright and very situational. So let's start off with the really good one, and that's going to be his F smash. Now, as you can see, this thing is, you know, giant, quite easy to hit actually, but it does take a long time to come out, and it does have a lot of end lag. So I'm going to say it's kind of similar to like a Ganon or, you know, an Ike F smash. In general, I feel like Wario smashes are kind of similar to like heavy characters, while a lot of his aerials are kind of similar to like Sheik, you know, Pit, a lot of really lighter characters. So, you know, that's kind of interesting about him. Anyways, this guy's F smash is extremely powerful, and it works really well with rage. So even without any rage, I think it should kill around here. Yeah, maybe even early, maybe even around like 60%. It's one of the stronger F smashes in the whole game. And as you can see, I mean, it almost kills at like 68-ish%. And there we go. So, of course, that wasn't with the ice, so they'll probably lit around 75%. But even still, he has an extremely strong F smash, and for being a character that's so fast, that has so many mobile options, that's really great. Now, in general, you probably are going to get more kills with your forward tilt, because as you see, it comes out a lot faster. But if you see your opponent coming towards you, you can go for one of these. And probably the best thing to do is to dash back F smash in a lot of situations, because just, you know, running up F smash can work okay, but it's pretty easy to see. But if you see your opponent coming up, dash back F smash. That works with a lot of characters. Works really good as Wario, and probably one of the easiest ways to hit this. That's kind of how the, you know, that move works, though. It's pretty simple. Moving on, we have his down smash. This is probably one of my least used moves. I've seen it used like once in a tournament set. You can hit, and it sends them kind of far, but not really that far. It doesn't really have way too much reward. It comes out really quick, but in a lot of situations, I just personally rather like use a F tilt, because it comes out, you know, somewhat similar in timing. Probably a little bit slower, but, you know, still, it's just kind of there. And it can be nice because it can cover, I think, roll and just get up, so that's nice. But that's kind of it. That's all I'm going to say about this smash. I wouldn't use it, honestly, way too much. Finally, we have his up smash, which is essentially just a really bad Mario up smash. But the nice thing about this up smash, which I'm going to show you right here, the main reason you'll want to use this up smash is that you can actually... Oh, I have to get to the right frame. Right there. His head is actually invincible. So for that whole time, if your opponent hits your head, you're going to be beating them with your up smash. This move isn't particularly way too strong, honestly, as you see. It doesn't really send them way too high, and it takes quite a while to kill. So it can be useful on platforms and stocks, or it can be useful if your opponent's above you. It does take a while to come out. It does take a while to end. But it does give you that invincibility, so that's kind of the main, you know, not gimmick, but the main reason to use this up smash. And if you see your opponent jumping all the time, and they just really are just throwing out aerials left and right, this can be a good way to punish that, getting them to stop as well. Up tilt can be great, but up smash really is that hard punish tool for people that like to spam jumping a ton. First off, starting with his Chomp. This is a move that I actually like a lot, because overall, you know, I just enjoy having a command grab on deck, and essentially what that means is it's a move that can go through your opponent's shield at any time. You know, grab usually can do that. Well, one of these grabs can as well do that. So, as you see right here, I can't even get him to shield, but this will go through your opponent's shield, so that's really nice. As well as you see, it'll heal you up quite a bit. That's great. Essentially, this is just going to be used as a mix-up move. If you see your opponent shielding a lot of your forward airs, a lot of your back airs, a lot of that, you can essentially just be like jumping towards them, away from them. They don't really know what's going on, and then you change your mouth, and then you bite them. And that's kind of the main thing about this. Now, it does heal in this game, and you do get the most damage just from mashing as fast as possible. They'll try to mash out, and if they mash out, then you'll just throw them. Now, this move can potentially kill in this game. In the past, it couldn't really. I'm not going to say that it kills amazingly early, but it does have some potential to kill in this game. I'm going to put him super high just so that we can show this off. But you can, do this. He's going to be at extremely high percent. And you can also eat them for longer the higher percent they are. So that's kind of nice. As you can see, it can kill right there. That's a really nice thing about this move. Just being able to get through your opponent's shield, I think, is just really good with this. And as well, you can't eat like every single projectile in the game. Unless it's too big, then sometimes it hits your forehead first, like a fully charged aura sphere with aura. So that kind of sucks. And also, bombs do make you actually take some percent, but it will blow up and hurt the person if they're too close to you. So that's kind of cool. Anyways, a final thing you can do with this is you can chomp them and go for the Wario suicide. Now, the thing about this is that Wario does die first, so that sucks. But if you're up ahead one stock, or if you're just like really behind in percent and want to make a catch up, that can be great as a way to try to edge guard. So I really like that move for that. Moving on, we have his side B, and honestly, you could have a full video about this side B. Of course, you pull it out, you can hit your opponent. You can as well pull it out, go up and down. You don't really do that way too much, but you potentially can. You do that by holding up and then pressing down. You can change direction and hit your opponent with that. That's pretty cool. Mainly, though, what you do with this move, honestly, is either use it as a recovery tool, which you oftentimes want to save it for because it gives you an extra jump, and it's just great. It just makes it that you can recover from pretty much anywhere and just makes you really safe. So that's great. And I should mention right here, it actually has, I think, I don't remember if it's 5 or 7, but a 5 or second long cooldown. So if you throw it off the cliff, come on, and then use it, you can't use it for quite a while. So that should be mentioned right here. If we keep spamming, we'll eventually get it back though. And that's a lot of cases why you want to save it, because I mean, if you don't have that side B to recover, which is great for recovering, all you have is your jumping up B. That doesn't go way too far. So yeah, oftentimes save your side B for that. But anyways, if you want to use it, you can drive on people, you can do whatever. A lot of the times though, what you're going to be doing is like driving, turning around, jumping off it by pressing the jump button, and then you have this projectile if you want to use it. Now, probably the best thing to do with this is smash it upwards, because then it gives you a lot of space, especially if your opponent's off stage right here. Let's say you throw this upwards, you use a back air, then they're stuck. So that's really good against this, or for this, I guess. Another thing about this is that it can also extend your hitbox. Okay, so yeah, with the side B, you can extend your hitbox. So what this essentially means is that your opponent is right here, and you have your side B on the ground, and let's say my opponent spot dodges. Well, if I happen to hit this, it also essentially will continue the hitbox all the way until my bike is exploded. At least that's kind of how I understand it. Moving on, we have his up B. This just kind of a regular recovery, not really too much to say about it. It does have sun kill potential, as you see. You can kill at the top and the side, but it is kind of unreliable, as you're also seeing. It doesn't kill the earliest, but it can kill up here at like around 90. So that's really cool if you can happen to hit it. Probably the best thing about it, other than just simply put, jump recovery, which isn't that great by itself, but it's all right, is the fact that you can shield. If your opponent hits your shield, you can press up B. So let's see if I can get this to happen. So get this guy to use side smash, shield this, hold up B. There we go. The second I get out of that hit stun, I'm going to use up B, and I'm hopefully going to hit him. Now with a side smash, it probably won't, but with some other moves, I probably will be able to do that. And yeah, that's kind of all this is with his up B. Just overall a good recovery, not too many other magic tricks with this. Continuing from here, we're going to have his down B, the waft. Now, how the waft works is essentially that you're going to have to wait 1 minute and 50 seconds for it to charge up. And I'm probably not going to show way too much with this, because it is just kind of a pain to have to wait that long for the waft to really do anything. But how this works is that as well, if you eat anything, let's say a bike or whatever, it will remove the amount of time you have to wait for the waft to charge by 1.5 seconds. So if I just kept eating bikes, I would be able to remove that time by 1.5 seconds. Now, as far as leading into the waft, this is probably one of your best moves, because it just kills so early. You can kill around like 40% of the ledge at a full charge waft, and even at a half charge waft, you can kill relatively early, and you can get that in around a minute. You can go up tilt into waft, up air into waft in a lot of cases, and you can potentially go neutral air into the waft, and those are kind of how it mainly works. And as well, you can blow up your bike with the waft. Right here though, as you see, I can use the waft, get to kill my opponent. I can't really show you way too much more with that, because I do have to wait, again, 2 minutes every single time I want to use it. But yeah, just use it as a really big punishing tool if you see your opponent essentially just in a really bad situation. And as well, you can use it off stage to recover if you want to use in that situation. Otherwise, if you're at like 0 waft, it does just trip. Not that great in that situation. Just look at the time, see when it's going to be up, and use it to punish your opponent. That's kind of the main thing. It is just like a really good big punishing tool. Now, finally talking about his grabs, Wario honestly has, kind of a disappointing grab game, mainly because it doesn't lead to way too much and they don't really do all that much. His down throw, I think, does have some potential tech chase combos, but in a lot of cases, if your opponent just techs it and you can't read them, it's not the best, but you can, like, down throw dash attack if your opponent misses the tech, and down throw, some other stuff, but not that great, but, down throw can do that. It does have some tech potential. Forward throw does throw your opponent pretty far off stage, and forward throw and back throw essentially just throw your opponent off stage. The problem is that they don't really kill for, like, a long time, as you see, like 140% isn't dying. Back throw, I think, is maybe even worse than that. Yeah, they just don't really kill. Get your opponent off stage, though, into a position where you can edge guard, but, every forward throw and back throw in the game does that, so those aren't way too noteworthy. But one throw that I really do like is the one that I was already talking about earlier, and that's going to be his up throw. Now, of course, if you just don't really know what to do, up throw, up air is probably going to be your best thing. Now, you can't just throw, you can't just press up throw and then hold X and A because you will miss. So you actually do have to go up throw and then jump a little bit and then up air. And then once you do that, your opponent's in a really bad situation, especially on platforms. They're right above you. You can up tilt them if you think they're going for something. You can continue your combos. You can do a lot of stuff off that up throw, up air. But essentially just puts you in a really good situation where you can just, kind of get your opponent in somewhere where they don't want to be. Now, overall, his throws are just kind of acceptable. Don't really have anything too special about them, so that's why I didn't want to focus on them way too much. But, of course, throws are good in this game. They do get through your opponent's shield. And, of course, you do also have the chomp to make sure your opponent can't shield way too much. And, as well, a lot of times people will be shielding a lot against Wario because you do just have a lot of these moves that don't do way too much shield damage but do poke a lot. So do expect a lot of people to shield, and you can mix those up a lot of the time with up throw or with forward throw to get stage space or stage control or back throw as well. So in conclusion, I'm going to say that, again, I think Wario's a really good character. As you've been hearing, he just kind of has a good amount of everything. He's heavy enough, he's fast enough, he has enough range, he has enough damage. Kind of just has, a little bit of everything, plus comeback potential with his down B. And that's all just great as the character. Now, as far as his best moves go, side B can be really good as a projectile, of course. Forward air, probably one of his best aerials in the entire game. But honestly, his neutral air, his up air, and his back air as well, really good moves. Forward tilt, and down tilt into dash attack, some of the best. Grab into up throw, of course, really good, and up tilt as an anti-air. Those are probably going to be your main options, with, of course, as I said earlier, potentially throwing this as a projectile, or breaking as a projectile as well, or eating your opponent, and, of course, the minute-and-a-half waft in order to kill your opponent. Those are kind of the main things to remember as Wario, and the main reasons why you might want to be playing him, because you're going to probably be throwing out those moves quite often. But anyways, there you guys go. Those are all my opinions about this character in Smash Ultimate. Overall, a character that I feel like has been a little bit underrepresented because I feel like he is really good, but is a little bit awkward to get into. He's not just like one of those characters that you pick up and play completely well. Even myself, I could really use a lot more work on my Wario, but I feel like I can show you guys a little bit about how to play him, and there you guys go. Anyways, as always, guys, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment down below your own opinions about this character, or if you want to see in the next video, and I'll try to cover them as fast as possible. As always, guys, thank you all for watching. Press subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. As always, guys, have a smashing day.